think if you went one day without salt, it would be good for your body, bad for your body, or it wouldn't matter? Doesn't matter. What if you went 10 days without salt? Would it be good for your body, bad for your body, or it wouldn't matter? It'd be good for your body. Okay, wow. So you think 10 days without salt would be a good thing? Because sometimes we hear people talk about, we got to lower all our salt, we can't have so much salt. Don't you hear people talk about that sometimes? Like it's not good for your heart to have too much salt. We hear that a lot. But I'm going to tell you something, because I don't think we realize how important salt is. So I'm going to tell you about something that happened in the 1930s, way before you were born. There was a doctor in Cambridge University. His name was Dr. Robert McCancy. And he said, you know what? I'm going to test to see how important it is for salt in our body. And so he had 4 volunteers go 10 days without any salt. So they ate no salt, no sodium. A lot of times when we see it in the ingredients, it'll be sodium. Like for instance, I had toast this morning, and in my toast there was sodium. That's salt. And so this doctor said, I'm going to test 4 people for 10 days, no sodium, no salt. Do you think it was good or bad? It was good. I'm going to tell you something. It was not so great. It said the participants right away began noticing that they weren't able to taste things as well. So that was the first problem, but that doesn't seem too terrible, right? So, okay, so they can't taste very well. But then fatigue, tiredness set in, and they became too tired to even eat. They were so exhausted. And then what was called hyponatremia, my nurse over there, thank you. That's what set in. And that's when you don't have enough salt in your body. And you know what? If you don't treat that hyponatremia, thank you, it can result in seizures, coma, and death. Yes! If they didn't get salt in their bodies quickly, they could literally die. Salt is so important. And it's not just important to our bodies, it's important to the whole planet. Plants and animals, everybody needs some salt. And if we took all the salt out of the ocean, like you know how the oceans, have you ever been to the ocean? And it has a saltiness to it. Yeah. You can almost taste it in the air. If you were to take the salt out of the ocean, that would wipe out all the underwater algae, and it would cut photosynthesis on the earth in half, and then plant life on the earth would start to suffer, and then we'd have too much carbon dioxide and not enough oxygen, and our whole climate would go crazy, our bodies would go crazy, everything would go crazy if we didn't have salt. Did you know salt was that important? And then here's what's really interesting. So in today's scripture story that Reverend Sandy's going to read in just a minute, our liturgist, and we're going to talk about it upstairs. It says this, Jesus is talking to his disciples and some people, and he says, you are the salt of the earth. Well, that's weird, isn't it? I think what he's saying is, if you're a follower of Jesus, you're super important. You have jobs to do. We just sang it in our song. You have a job to make the kingdom have more peace and more justice and more love and more joy. We have a responsibility. We have realized salt is life-giving, isn't it? It gives life to this earth. And so we have learned that we are the salt to the people around us. All the people that we come in contact with, we're the salt to them if we're followers of Jesus. And so we're going to go talk a little bit about how important salt is upstairs. We're also going to talk about a little bit of light and how important light is. So let's head on upstairs.